Fat Joe said that.
Fat Joe's a
Lean back.
We've been leaning back for 20 years, man. Like,
he said you crowned yourself the rat leader and you wrote the 48 laws of snitching.
For sure. How did you feel after warning Tekashi?
Oh.
Because I saw it when you sat with him. And I was like, Joe is trying to put him on right now. And I'm going to just be honest with you.
You know, some of these guys got to take a boat ride, never come back. Sammy the Bull is the most famous rat on the earth. Sammy the Bull. Then you came Alpo.
Man, 6ix9ine is back, causing waves again. Listen to this, because the drama just kicked into another gear. And this time, the person in his crosshairs is Fat Joe. The internet is going wild right now, because honestly, nobody saw this level of tension popping off between them. For years, Joe mostly stayed on the sidelines, only tossing subtle shade whenever someone asked him about 6ix9ine. But hold up, now the whole situation has completely blown up. 6ix9ine didn't ease into it either. He jumped straight in with some heavy accusations, saying Fat Joe has been fake for years and has been hiding behind that OG reputation to avoid the truth. It almost feels like 6ix9ine reached his limit, like he was done staying quiet and finally wanted everyone to hear what really went down between him and Joe behind closed doors. Now, let's be real for a second. 6ix9ine has always thrived in controversy, but the way he came at Fat Joe this time, girl, it hit on a whole different level. He started going off on social media like never before, claiming Joe used to play both sides when the entire industry turned its back on him after the snitching case. According to 6ix9ine, Fat Joe would smile in his face behind the scenes and act friendly, but publicly, he'd call him out to keep his own image spotless.
Damn, you went there?
Yeah, I went there.
This is a sucker. He's a sucker.
Let me get,
Okay.
pop another bottle in there.
No, I ain't drink. I'm dead sober.
Crazy. Talk that talk, man. Yeah.
No, I'm dead sober. This dude here, this type of shit, this doing, I'm convinced he wanna die. I don't wish it on him or nothing like that, but I'm convinced he's miserable in his body. He can't look in the mirror. Nah, I don't know if he got him. He's a lot of
He just got knocked.
So now the man snitch, right? Cool, do you or whatever.
How did you know that?
I don't like the taunting. I try to tell him, like, what happens? Like, yo, bro, listen, I didn't know if he really did it. I didn't know what was going on. The crazy shit is when I talked to him in that interview.
That's a heavy accusation when you really think about the way Fat Joe built his entire reputation on loyalty and respect in the game. 6ix9ine even suggested that Joe was one of the rappers who used his downfall to strengthen his own street credibility, basically saying he wanted to look like the real one while putting me down. That one line alone had the internet going crazy. And what makes this situation even more intense is the fact that these two actually have history. Think back to 2018 when Fat Joe gave 6ix9ine that warning during a well-known interview. Joe looked him dead in the eye and said the streets don't play fair and the feds were watching everything he did. Joe literally told him, they're going to come for you, trust me. And then not long after that, boom, 6ix9ine ended up behind bars. When he finally came home, a lot of people assumed he'd respect Joe for calling it early, but instead, he started looking at that interview like it was nothing but fake love. In this latest rant, 6ix9ine claimed Joe wasn't trying to protect him at all. He said Joe was really protecting himself. He even accused Joe of playing the prophet role just for views instead of standing on real loyalty. And instantly, the fans split into two different camps. Some people were like, nah, Fat Joe is way too solid for that, while others started saying maybe, just maybe, 6ix9ine actually has a point.
the rat leader, he crowned himself as the cap leader. He didn't rob no 50 niggas at no gym. That nigga, yo, bro, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Which one's my camera? That one?
Yeah.
This one? That one? Yeah, Fat Joe, you're a like, you're a I'm not even gonna lie, you're a captain of the cap. Like, nobody believe, even your co-host who's Jadakiss don't believe you. Every time you say a cap, that like, like, but like I said, you gonna go
flag, like
and
flag on the play.
And my next song, I even say, I be spitting so much facts that I make jokes to distract. That's the next bar in my song. don't like the truth, so y'all make jokes to distract me. We know this lying, right? All right, yo, listen to me. Listen.
But there's
to
a lot
me.
of people that say he ain't lying.
He ain't lying?
Yeah.
All right. Which one's my camera? If Fat Joe is not lying, the next person on the Dancing Project, bring Big Pun's son. Bring Big Pun's son on the Dancing Project. Welcome back.
Chris Rivers.
Welcome back, y'all. Let's skip this clip. Watch when he see this clip, he gonna hit up, yo, Chris, don't do that. How much money you need? Out of here. Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, you just said a lot. You just said a lot.
Bring Big Pun's son, even on the verses. Remember when he was facing Ja Rule?
Yeah.
And they said, don't play that shit. That's Big Pun. Don't do that. Don't do what, fat
Because, as unpredictable as he is, 6ix9ine usually pulls out receipts or drops claims so shocking that they make people pause and rethink everything. He even alleged that Fat Joe was making calls behind the scenes, trying to convince other rappers not to work with him, saying Joe was quietly blackballing him. If that's true, hold up. It would mean Joe wasn't just staying neutral. It would mean he was actively trying to wipe 6ix9ine out of the culture completely. And listen, we can't ignore the fact that Fat Joe has his own complicated history in the rap game. He survived major beefs with names like 50 Cent and even tension involving Jay-Z, yet somehow still walked away with his respect intact. But now, 6ix9ine seems determined to chip away at that legacy piece by piece. He even said Joe acts like hip-hop's big brother in public, while secretly being terrified of losing his power and influence. Those are straight-up fighting words in a culture where respect means everything. 6ix9ine even pulled Joe into the bigger conversation about loyalty. He claimed the OGs in the game don't actually follow the same code they preach to the younger generation. According to him, the new artists get blamed for being fake, but the veterans are the ones doing the most two-faced moves behind closed doors. And once that claim hit the internet, people immediately started digging up old interview clips. Moments where Joe threw subtle shots at 6ix9ine, saying things like, "That boy is a disgrace to the culture."
But what's the event in hip-hop that broke the camel's back? Pause. To make it to where you could snitch. And if you make good music or something, you could still live out here in hip-hop. Like, what was the straw that broke the camel's back in hip-hop, where we had a code and there is no code no more? There just isn't no code no more. And what do you think is the event that, I remember growing up, even if you was fronting, you wasn't a real gangster, but you was spitting gangster rap shit. You wasn't with the rats like that. Right now, this
too many of them
sold out concerts.
I don't think you can escape them. They're all around. They're like New York City rats. Humans. It's rats everywhere. And everywhere is everything,
Too many Fredos, not enough Michaels.
That's a fact.
Back then, most people brushed it off as regular industry tough talk, but now those same words land way heavier. 6ix9ine is basically saying, you weren't protecting the culture, you were protecting your chair at the table. And listen, a lot of fans are starting to notice a pattern in how Fat Joe always seems to orbit controversy without ever getting fully dragged into it. Meanwhile, 6ix9ine practically feeds off chaos. Every time he disappears for a minute, something explosive like this pops up, and suddenly his name is trending everywhere again. But this time, hold up. People can't figure out if he's just trolling like usual, or if he's actually exposing something deeper about how the industry really operates. He even said, they are all fake. They all play both sides. They are all scared of being next. That line hit a serious nerve, because it didn't sound like he was only calling out Fat Joe. It sounded like he was pointing fingers at the entire system around him, like he believes the culture itself turned its back on him.
Some of these guys got to take a boat ride, never come back. Sammy the Bull is the most famous rat on the earth. Sammy the Bull. Then you came Alpo, guy everybody looked up to, charismatic, Harlem fly, Louis Vuitton, this, that, told. He did that, right?
Shout out to Wayne Perry and Wayne Perry Jr.
Then, in hip-hop, the day 6ix9ine sat on that stage.
Yo.
No!
Man.
You remember, if you're watching the story, they taking him to court in bulletproof vests. They acting like he was telling on El Chapo. He put a lot of good people in jail, man.
Facts.
No,
we gotta put him away till his time.
Yo,
my feeling is gonna get close.
You feel it?
I feel his time has come. I feel his time is gonna be soon, though. Yeah.
Does it not matter no more? And I believe 6ix9ine, when he gave guys 20 years in jail. All the guys he was like, oh, but he fucked my wife. Oh, but he did. That means nothing. There's a man that works in a bodega that never been a criminal in his life, see some shit.
This new chapter hits even harder because Fat Joe has always presented himself as a man of principles, someone who never bends under pressure. But if even half of what 6ix9ine is saying turns out to be real, it could completely change the way people view Joe from here on out. And you already know how the internet works. Once a scandal starts rolling, it spreads like wildfire. Every blogger, podcaster, and hip-hop page instantly jumped in, breaking down every little detail, trying to figure out what's the truth and what's just another one of 6ix9ine's mind games. Either way, the situation is already messy, because Fat Joe staying silent isn't helping anything. The longer he doesn't respond, the more people start wondering if 6ix9ine might actually be telling the truth. And listen, that's exactly the kind of suspense the internet feeds on. Now everybody's glued to their screens, waiting to see who moves next, because if these two ever cross paths publicly again, you already know it's going to be straight fireworks. But hold up, this is where the story really starts getting spicy, because 6ix9ine didn't just stop at calling Fat Joe fake. He began digging up old stories that left fans completely stunned. He claimed Joe used to be around him all the time when his fame first exploded. According to him, Joe acted like a mentor figure behind the scenes, hyping him up and telling him, "You're the future kid."
I talked to him off the air, and he lied to me and told me, yo, this is just an image, I'm fronting this and this and that. He told me that in front of Shotty and them. They were standing right there with him.
He said, what?
Joe,
This
he
is
told
just
me that
an
he was
image.
lying.
He's an image.
Yo, Joe, I'm not really doing this. I'm not a gangster. You know, this is all for like promotion. I got it. At that point, I said, so you're not doing nothing because you're going to go to jail if you're really doing stuff.
Right.
Nah, Joe, I don't do nothing.
But once things got messy, when 6ix9ine's legal problems exploded and the snitch label followed him everywhere, Fat Joe suddenly seemed to switch up. 6ix9ine claims Joe completely disappeared from his circle, then started popping up on podcasts and interviews, acting like they barely had a relationship. That alone pushed fans to start digging through old footage, and sure enough, people found clips of Joe praising him before everything collapsed. That kind of flip-flop energy had a lot of viewers wondering if 6ix9ine might actually be revealing something real about how the industry moves, because sometimes loyalty only lasts until the cameras turn on. And listen to this, 6ix9ine also alleged that Fat Joe tried to check him during a private meeting right before the whole situation went public. According to him, Joe sat him down like a father figure and told him to stop disrespecting other rappers online. But 6ix9ine insists the real concern behind those words was Joe protecting his own reputation. He claimed Joe was worried that being connected to him would damage his image with respected street legends. 6ix9ine called it industry fear, saying Joe wasn't protecting him at all. He said Joe was only protecting his own name. They're all scared of losing respect, 6ix9ine said. He added that a lot of these so-called mentors act supportive, but at the end of the day, it's really just business. That statement alone sent the internet into chaos because it touched a nerve. How many veteran rappers preach unity but quietly choose sides once the pressure starts building? This feud also feels different from most of 6ix9ine's previous clashes. Normally, when he calls someone out, it's about clout or boosting attention, but this time he's talking about betrayal, power, and the fake loyalty he believes runs deep in hip-hop. He's basically painting Fat Joe as part of a bigger system that used him when he was hot and tossed him aside once the controversy became too heavy. And honestly, as wild as 6ix9ine can be, he's not the only artist who's made similar accusations. Several rappers from the newer generation have spoken about gatekeepers controlling the industry, the kind of figures who act like big brothers publicly, but quietly decide who gets accepted and who gets blackballed. And critics are asking, who fits that description more than someone like Fat Joe? To his credit, Fat Joe hasn't responded to any of this yet, but his silence is speaking loudly to a lot of people watching. Some fans think Joe is simply taking the mature route and refusing to entertain 6ix9ine's chaos. Others believe he's staying quiet because 6ix9ine is unpredictable, and responding could make everything explode even further. After all, Joe has survived decades of drama in the rap game, and he's watched careers fall apart over far less.
We find ourselves in situations like Liza Rios has with Joe Cartagena, Fat Joe, where, you know, you got to file a lawsuit to figure out what actually happened and to find out where is the money. So today, although Fat Joe's lawyers originally filed an answer in the case, they subsequently filed a motion to dismiss, as did Jelly's Jams, not claiming that they don't owe any money, but just making technical legal arguments that basically saying that Liza can't sue them for one reason or another. We feel pretty good about the hearing. There was a hearing that took place today, oral arguments for our side and for Jelly's Jams and Fat Joe, to talk about why we believe that they should be kept in this case and why we believe that they basically had fiduciary duties, meaning a higher standard than a breach of contract standard, to pay Liza monies that were due her husband so that her family can benefit. You asked if it was a rehashing. Well, in some ways it's the same issue. The big question is, where's the money, right? So and there's some new information has come to light just of late that is setting some light on what happened to the money. And so that's really why this lawsuit is being filed now. You know, over time, you know, you're supposed to get royalties twice a year or whatever, and most of the time the accounts are saying they're unrecouped. So when an artist is getting statements that say they're unrecouped, there's really no reason for them to think that there should be money there. Right. In this particular case, we found the reason to believe that there really should be some more money there. And that is that we found out that in foreign territories overseas, that the writer splits are not properly reflected for the songs the way they should have been. And that's indicating that there was some money that was collected there that shouldn't have been collected. So that's where we're after. We're trying to pursue that. Actually, the important thing is that now artists are also getting paid for that money. ASCAP and BMI, the traditional, societies that collect money for songwriters, have been able to collect money for those streaming services.
And still, the silence is making everything worse. Because when you're an OG and someone's throwing dirt on your name like this, the streets expect a reaction. The fact that Fat Joe is staying quiet has people whispering, maybe there's more truth to what 6ix9ine is saying than anyone wants to admit. Meanwhile, 6ix9ine is fully exploiting the spotlight. He's dropping video clips, old DMs, and screenshots that supposedly show industry folks trying to rein him in. Even though he hasn't released direct evidence tying Joe to anything yet, the way he's moving makes it feel like this is just the opening act. He's feeding the internet piece by piece, building suspense like it's a Netflix thriller. Every day, there's a new clip, a fresh rant, a shocking revelation, and people can't look away. The man knows exactly how to stay relevant, even if it means dragging one of hip-hop's most respected names through the mud. But here's the part that really sent shockwaves. 6ix9ine started talking about loyalty codes and how the older generation broke the street rules first. He said, "They point fingers at me, but they've been telling. They've been switching sides. They just do it with suits on." That line hit hard because it taps into a deeper frustration in the culture. Younger rappers feel like they're judged by a system that's never been clean. And while Fat Joe isn't known for that behavior, the fact that 6ix9ine lumped him in got people debating hard. Some fans said he's bugging, Joe's solid, but others started wondering if maybe he's not as untouchable as everyone thinks. It's also wild because Fat Joe's image has been built on loyalty and brotherhood. His Terror Squad family, his bond with Big Pun, his Bronx roots. That legacy made him one of the few from his era still respected across generations. So for 6ix9ine to come at him like this, it's more than a feud. It's a direct challenge to that reputation. It's like he's saying, you're not untouchable. Even the OGs can get exposed. That's dangerous talk in hip-hop, because respect is the foundation of everything. Once that cracks, the whole image can crumble. And honestly, Fat Joe's been playing it safe the past few years, doing podcasts, spreading positivity, staying away from street drama. But this dragged him right back into the mud. And the wildest part? It's working. Joe's name is trending again, but not for music or motivation. It's for beef. That's probably the last thing he wanted. But 6ix9ine knows exactly how to pull people into his chaos. One line, one accusation, and suddenly everyone's talking. He's basically mastered the art of controversy. Some people think this is bigger than a simple feud. They believe 6ix9ine is using Joe to expose the fake OG system entirely. He said things like, "The game's full of scared old dudes who want to control everything, but can't handle new energy." That line alone shows why this is so deep. It's not just Fat Joe, it's generations clashing, ego versus exposure, and the question of who really controls the culture. And while Joe stays silent, every second he waits gives 6ix9ine more power, more credibility, more attention. It's like a silent war. One man fighting with words, the other trying to win by saying nothing. But if history teaches us anything, silence never lasts forever. Eventually, someone's going to snap. By now, 6ix9ine's rant has become a full-blown crusade. He's not just exposing Fat Joe for alleged fake loyalty, he's dissecting the whole OG mentality in hip-hop. He claims the older generation acts like gatekeepers, but secretly feeds off the new generation's chaos to stay relevant. He even pointed out how Joe used to frame him as a cautionary tale, a kid headed for self-destruction. Now, 6ix9ine flips that narrative, saying Joe used him as a storyline to make himself look wise and righteous. They act like they're preaching, but they gossip more than the blogs, 6ix9ine said with a smirk during his live session. And as expected, the internet lost it. Fans couldn't believe how bold he was to call out a legend like Fat Joe. But that's exactly what makes 6ix9ine so unpredictable. He doesn't play by the industry's rules. He started framing the story like Fat Joe embodies everything wrong with the game. The politics, the fake love, the double standards. And whether people like it or not, it's landing hard. For years, hip-hop has been split between old-school respect and new-school freedom. 6ix9ine is out here saying he fears no OG and that their codes mean nothing when those same rules are bent behind closed doors. He said, "You can't call yourself real when you only keep it real when it's safe." That line hit timelines like a bomb, especially since Fat Joe's entire brand has been built around authenticity, a man who's seen it all and done it all. But this time, the tables have turned. Now he's the one being questioned, and it's wild to watch. Then 6ix9ine dropped a bomb that sent the internet into full meltdown. He claimed there were conversations where Fat Joe and other industry figures tried to convince him to tone it down because he was becoming a liability. He said they wanted him to quietly fade away, but he refused. According to 6ix9ine, Joe was one of the first to publicly cut him off to save face. That's when 6ix9ine decided, if they're going to turn their backs on me, I'll show them how fake they really are. And honestly, this feels like his revenge tour, going after everyone who distanced themselves when things got rough. He's calling out hypocrisy in real time. And even if his methods are messy, the message is landing. What's fascinating is how Fat Joe's fans are reacting. Some are furious, saying 6ix9ine is just doing his usual chaos for attention stunt. Others are side-eyeing Joe, wondering if there might be truth in what 6ix9ine is saying, since Joe's career has always been about staying cool with everyone, the legends, newcomers, even rivals. He's been the bridge builder in hip-hop, but now 6ix9ine frames that as a weakness, claiming Joe plays both sides and never stands firm unless it benefits him. It's a bold accusation, and it's got people re-watching old interviews, seeing things differently. And let's not forget, Joe's silence is fueling the fire even more. If this were just trolling, he could have brushed it off by now. But the longer he stays silent, the more questions the public asks. Why isn't he defending himself? Why hasn't he shut down these rumors? Joe's always been outspoken, tackling everything from politics to street culture. So this sudden quietness feels strange. Some think he's waiting for the perfect moment to respond. Others think he's letting 6ix9ine burn himself out. But with social media moving this fast, silence often looks like guilt, and that's exactly what 6ix9ine is counting on. Meanwhile, bloggers, YouTubers, and hip-hop pages are devouring this like breakfast. Every quote, clip, and old interview is dissected, and 6ix9ine's name is trending again, exactly how he wants it. Some call it manipulation, others marketing genius. But one thing's undeniable, he knows how to make the whole industry react. He's proven that with just a few words, he can shake even the biggest names in hip-hop. And honestly, even if you doubt everything he says, you can't deny his presence is still massive. Love him or hate him, the man knows how to turn the culture upside down overnight. Meanwhile, Fat Joe is facing a real test. If he decides to clap back, it could reignite a beef that goes way beyond words. It could spark a full-on generational clash between old school and new school rap. But if Fat Joe stays silent, he risks letting 6ix9ine take over the entire narrative. Either way, this situation is pure chaos. It's like watching two completely different eras of hip-hop crashing into each other. One side sticks to rules and loyalty codes, the other thrives on clout, exposure, and controversy. And right in the middle, fans are glued to their screens watching history unfold. Because this beef isn't just personal, it's symbolic of a culture shifting before our eyes. And if that wasn't enough, 6ix9ine keeps teasing that he's nowhere near done. He hinted at proof, messages, calls, and unseen footage that could make everyone see the truth. Whether it's legit or not, the man is a marketing machine. Every time people think he's finished, he finds a new way to dominate attention. He's unpredictable, fearless, and reckless, and somehow that exact combo keeps him relevant no matter what. Fat Joe may have decades of respect behind him, but right now, 6ix9ine owns the spotlight, and he's not letting go anytime soon. So yeah, this whole saga is a storm that's just getting started. If Joe responds, we could be witnessing one of the biggest rap feuds of the year, maybe even one of the messiest in history. But if he stays quiet, 6ix9ine's version becomes the story everyone believes. Either way, hip-hop fans are locked in, eyes glued to every move. No matter how much people claim they're tired of the drama, they can't look away. And that's exactly how 6ix9ine keeps winning. Don't forget to subscribe, share, comment, and like if you want more breakdowns of wild moments like this. Trust me, the drama is only getting started.